Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Shotcallers. Another season is upon us. Another season of episodes are here. Game one, night one of the NBA season. Andre, I can see it all over your face. You're excited. How you feeling about this season so far?
Man, I'm pretty damn excited, man. I feel like it's been forever, but it's really been what, like 70 something days. But NBA
It's
is
been it's
back.
been
It's good to
72
have
days
sports.
since
Yeah,
the Lakers won the title. It is late at night. I want to preface it is 11 something p.m. Central Time. Andre is keeping himself up late on our behalf so we can get this episode out in a timely manner. So I really appreciate that, Andre.
hey man, gotta give the people what they want. So I can take a small one for the team. But yeah, man, happy to have basketball back. Happy to get the NBA season back underway and ready to talk about some games, man. What
What a
about you?
perfect close to 2020, getting basketball back, ending the year, and like opening up Christmas presents. I can't think of a single Christmas present I would want more than just literally sitting on the couch and watching basketball like I was
Yeah,
doing
that's
in the
such a
middle of
great gift.
summer. I can't
Yeah.
wait all day long. You wake up, chew on some basketball breakfast, watch the second game with full attentiveness, eat some lunch while you watch the third game, take a nap during the fourth game, and then wrap up with the fifth game. So
All right.
anyway, let's not look too far forward. Yesterday was Monday. Today's
Yesterday was
Tuesday.
Monday. Today's
Yeah,
Tuesday. Yes, that's
yesterday
right.
was Monday. We had a slew of different extensions to several different up and coming rookie extensions or up and coming players for a lot of different teams, Andre. So I'm gonna just throw them all at the listeners, at you, kind of rapid fire, and just let me know what might stick out in your mind. So our boy Markel Fultz agreed to a 3-year, $50 million extension with Orlando. The Raymond Brothers tell Rock Nation Sports, tell ESPN, and Adrian Wojnarowski. We have OG Anunoby signed his 4-year, $72 million extension with the Raptors through 24-25. What do you think about those, Andre? Do you think those are some good moves by the Raptors and the Magic?
Yeah. So young guys who pretty established in the team. They're very active in the rotation, and you want to feel that depth, right? I know the Raptors lost a couple vet players. Orlando's lost some players, some out to injury as well. Losing DJ Augustine to Milwaukee, so it's good. You want to guarantee those guys, and also they both show promise, and I think both of those contracts are fair.
Yeah, and they even extended John Collins, or not John Collins, sorry, that's spoilers. They extended Jonathan Isaac in Orlando too, even after that ACL injury this past
Yeah, what
year.
was it like? 4 years, 40 million, something like that.
Yeah, not, you know, a little modest, but I think it speaks not just to their faith and the fact that they really rehab their players, faithfully in Orlando, but also the ACL injury doesn't seem to be all that career defining every time. It doesn't seem to be a curse of doom. I guess with medical advancements and things of that nature, I think they are right to be optimistic that they'll be able to get him back to true form for the majority of that extension after he recovers. So props to the medical community there and the Magic too.
Yep, definitely. Injuries don't seem as detrimental. Obviously, they're still bad, especially when you're an older player. But these young guys, man, you saw Zach Levine, what ACL tear like in
Hmm.
his second season, and he's still like jumping around like a maniac.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Wesley Matthews older, but he's made a long career, still being a defensive plug, a cog in the machine after his ACL tear when he was in Portland. So definitely. And then another major extension, Rudy Gobert signed not the Supermax extension,
Pretty
but
close.
an amount that only Utah could offer him, $205 million. Do you think that's wise money that the Jazz should be spending on the defensive side of the ball that some people think just straight up when you put him on a scale can't be as important as the offensive side, Andre? What do you think about that?
Well, it's one of those things, right? Utah's not typically a city or team that's good at attracting free agents. So, what's the alternative here? Either give Gobert the money and be a contender in the West, or let him walk and go back into rebuilding. Based off of what we saw in the playoffs, even though they lost, that was a very exciting series with Denver, and Gobert's defensive numbers are great with him on the court. Like they need him there, so I feel like it's good for them. Like it'll be fun for the fans, especially with them having new ownership, to have a team that they can continue to watch and can be competitive, as opposed to just going out. So I'm sure Jazz fans are still. I'm sure Jazz fans still appreciate Malone and Stockton, although they didn't win. It was a very competitive like tenure for those two players, and it's been fun for Utah. So I'm sure they're not complaining.
Yeah, and that's a great point you made. Something that I read over the weekend regarding the James Harden trade rumors, the behavior fiasco, the tumultuousness of that entire situation. If, let's say, James Harden got traded in a month or in 3 months or tomorrow, you still look back at that James Harden era and look at it as a great success. They made the playoffs every single time, top
Hmm.
three in MVP 3, 4, almost 5 years in a row, made it to the Western Conference Finals two
Like three
times,
times? Was it
took
two or
the
three? Something like that. A lot, yeah.
took the same amount of games off of the Kevin Durant Golden State Warriors as all the other teams did besides them. They won 3 games against them, whereas all the rest of the teams won 3 games against them. So
Hmm.
isn't that ridiculous? It's ridiculous. So I just say that to uh, commend you on saying you can look at an era as a success without a championship. And that's not something that just losers that don't win championships say. It's,
Right.
everyone's got to take solace and enjoyment out of something. And good basketball, a great product, is something to be celebrated. Seeing Donovan Mitchell light the fuck up out of the scoreboard last bubble or this past summer was amazing. I went and bought 2 pairs of his shoes because of that. So I definitely am with you there. And then so just to scoot us forward a little bit more, so we can talk about these games that happened tonight. Just a small footnote, a little more somber. Some details have come out from Malik Beasley of the Minnesota Timberwolves. His October charges regarding threats of violence involving a handgun, I believe also having possession of certain drugs, felony drug charges, were dismissed. But he entered a guilty plea for the violence part, and his attorneys Stephen Haney and Ryan Pasiga talked to Shams Charania saying that whatever happens, if it's jail time or some sort of probation, it wouldn't take into effect until after this season. So after the Timberwolves are done playing their games. So their secondary ball handler, I guess, isn't in jeopardy of being pulled off the floor. Stuff like that can definitely cause a lot of distractions and things for any NBA team. Just ask the Lakers when Kobe had to go back and forth flying between Colorado and LA whenever that was happening. So I guess that's a small positive, even if you can't avoid committing whatever crime might have happened. Hmm.
Yeah, it just seems kind of silly for an NBA player to be involved in something like that. I mean, you make plenty of money. Drug possession, especially like during a pandemic, is kind of silly. But hopefully, everything gets worked out, everything's clear, and the Timberwolves can bounce back. But just a weird thing to hear. You never like at a certain point you should be wealthy enough where like shit stuff like that's below you. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just some people just can't get the hangers on that they might have grown up with away from them, or some people just
Right.
don't know how to say no, which
And
is
that's a good
unfortunate.
point. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
Uh,
a good point.
all right, so we kind of sped through some of the footnotes and important things that happened during the season or during this week that passed. Andre, we had 2 games on. How? Give me some. Give me whatever reactions you have. If you want to wild out and say the wildest shit that you can think of, go ahead. Give me an overreaction because we know it's only game. It's only one. It's only 2 games. Each of these teams has only played 1 game, and we still got 20, 26 other teams to go. But you can crown a champion right now if you feel like it. Say whatever you want to
Man, Nets coming out the East. That's what
say.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
They
that's all
might they
over
might take the
Instagram.
whole thing too. They might take the whole thing.
We'll see, but they definitely look good.
Man, Kevin Durant looked like he hasn't lost a step. Like
Dude,
seriously, the
he
dude
may not have
looks
lost. Go
exactly
ahead.
the same. Exactly the same as 2019. It's crazy, man.
He looks the same, but I am I wrong? He looks slimmer. I know he was slim already, but he looks like gaunt almost. You know what I mean? He looks like he's
Slim Reaper
lighter.
got slimmer, man. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is, man.
there's some
It could be.
shadows on that
Yeah, they
face.
do say black is slimming, so it could just be the color.
Oh, it could be the
But
New Jerseys.
yeah, but you never know, man. That dude is still a beast.
Dude, I
No
saw
one
him
can stop him. You
hitting the
can't stop him.
ground, dunking the ball, catching, skying for rebounds, playing decent defense. Crashing to the rim. Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan are a pretty good tandem, but if you can add another 7 footer to the mix like that has some defensive instincts that he honed in Golden State, I
Hmm.
definitely think that's going to be a huge positive for those guys. What other takeaways besides Kevin Durant do you want to share with us for the moment before I go in on a couple of observations that I made?
Nothing too insane. Is just I might have to go back on my Golden State. This might be a reactionary take, but man, that game one wasn't looking so hot. It was reminiscent of last season with only Steph out there. Now they didn't have Draymond, but I was expecting a lot more from Wiggins in terms of his uh, I don't know, his confidence in driving and creating, and he just didn't look confident out there. They tried to
Yeah,
get him some touches early on, but
I'll
it
just
just
rattle
didn't
off the stats
translate.
for the listeners
Yeah,
that might not have caught up yet. 13 points for Wiggins, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, uh, and then 4 for 16 from the field. A really, really rough field goal percentage. His percentages are never super high, but the thing that
25%.
25%, and the thing that people point to going into the season if they're hyped on the Warriors is Steph Curry is such a nuclear superstar. He can go off for as many points as he feels like it in such bunches. Teams are going to be scrambling, and it's going to be so much easier for all the other guys on his team. Eric Pascal lit the league up for to an extent last year on the Warriors when Steph was out. Andrew Wiggins can definitely get buckets. Kelly Oubre Jr. was dunking on everybody tonight. He had 4 dunks
Yeah.
and the most monster dunk attempt possible, even over Kevin Durant, who I was just praising. But if you say, okay, Steph, we're still going to only single cover you, you're going to work pretty hard to get into open space, dribble a lot, get to the hole, finish over, some help defense, but we're not going to hard double you every time you catch the ball. We're not going to drag that screen and roll way out to the sideline and give Draymond Green, and he wasn't playing tonight. That's a great point.
Hmm.
We're not going to give Draymond Green that screen and roll 3 or 4-on-3, make it one pass away, great shot. If we don't do that for the other people on the team, Steph can only score 50 points a game in that
Right.
scenario, and you got to score at least 100 to win in this league, no matter how bad the team is.
And guess what they scored?
What did they score?
99.
Yeah, yeah,
They didn't
exactly,
even
exactly.
crack 100, right?
Yep, 99, 99 to 125. Yeah, those Kyrie Irving. Oh my God, the layup package. I forgot he didn't play for a good chunk of last year. He didn't play in the bubble. It feels like I haven't seen him play in several years. He
It
got
feels
injured
like
when he
it.
was on the Celtics. And everyone gets so riled up on the incense burning in the Boston Celtics, pregame preseason game in all his quotes calling us pawns. Even you and I were talking about how he was calling us pawns, Andre. I was a little offended, but when I saw that layup package, it all melted away. Oh
Yeah,
man, it's
man. You
like we
kind of
made up.
forget, a sight for sore eyes, man. You kind of forget how good he is when you haven't seen him for so long. But, man, that's another guy who's out there and looks like he hasn't skipped a beat, man. Just put the ball on the ground and got whatever he wanted pretty much consistently. Was shooting from range, about 30, 35 feet out, and making it his way to the rim. So it's nice to see some more competition in the East. And I like what I'm seeing right now from Brooklyn. They're moving the ball well. Levert himself was looking pretty good too.
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
confident creating, running with that second unit. So
Levert and then Jared Allen, like I said, getting some good help defense, good blocks. I really like his effort too. And I'm just gonna say one more time, the Kyrie Irving layup package was terrific. And I want to just tell everyone I do have a pair of his shoes too. So anybody that has a good layup package that can finish at the rim and toss good passes, I'm buying the shoes. That's all I'm gonna say. I got James Harden's in there too. What do you want to say about? So if we're gonna move on for the moment from the Warriors and the Brooklyn Nets, what do you got to say about the defending champions and the defending bubble losers? The losers of the bubble, the biggest disappointments.
yeah, they were pretty much the floppers. Well, fourth quarter, last 2 minutes, Clippers are up 11 right now. They were up 22 at some point in the second quarter. This being the first game and LeBron going into his 18th season, it's really hard to take too much from this just because you saw how the series was last season, and then they just once the playoffs came, they just kind of steamrolled everyone.
And the Clippers
Um,
shellacked the Lakers on opening night 1 year ago today. Not today,
right,
but 1 year ago, the opening night of the season last season. So we definitely want to enjoy these things in the moment. We don't want to take too much away from it. And the things that I kind of want myself to focus on as an analyst as I grow my chops. I don't want to be too hyperbolic, but I want to say more along the lines of, okay, I see this action that the Clippers or X team are going to. I think they're going to develop this over the course of the season, and I think they're going to be able to unleash this pick and roll or this lineup orientation to attack certain defenses or certain teams. And those are things that we can measure a little better than just saying, oh, the Miami Heat are definitely going to the finals again. That's
right.
just easy to say, but not it's difficult to really say there's a lot of substance there. So,
Well, yeah.
for uh
Well, I'm sorry.
no, go
Well,
ahead,
for
Andre.
the the Lakers, like the pieces they added. So you got Dennis Schroeder, who's an offensive and defensive upgrade over Rondo, which will allow LeBron to get some rest. He can run the second unit, create and play off ball or share creation duties with him when he starts.
Mhm.
They get with Marcus All, they get a passing big man who can, also create. And then you got AD as well. So I feel like this Lakers team is going to be a lot more flexible, a lot more depth. They replaced pretty much Wesley Matthews, Danny Green. They're like 1-to-1. You can replace those guys. They're like the same thing. Didn't lose much, got more versatility, and that'll help their longevity with them playing more games this season, trying to get back towards the 82 game pace, and them being the defending champs. Give them a little bit more time to recover because 72 days that's not nothing. But I think those tools are enough for them.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that the pace, like you mentioned, having the shortest offseason that any pro sport team or league has ever had coming into this year, this historic year, I think it's really going to come into effect around All Star break kind of time. It's actually happening in March this year, and
right,
a lot of players are used to that happening in February. So I wonder what that means to someone's biological clock, where LeBron's had it the same way, year after year after year after year. You're right about talking about Dennis Schroeder. He definitely is an offensive upgrade. There was a moment in the second quarter where Anthony Davis had two guys draped on him. He's calling for the ball, and you can Anthony Davis can fight for repositioning. And Rondo would have dropped the ball off to him in that scenario, maybe just burning another 5 seconds off the clock. Schroeder saw that and he just shot it, like just quick. And so
right.
Schroeder's going to go for his shots. He's going to try to earn his next contract, and that definitely is a difference. And he is an upgrade, but we don't know if he's going to be there in the clutch moments the way that Rondo happened to be this year, or how he has been in certain years for the Celtics or in certain years for the Pelicans when he was previously with Anthony Davis over there. So it remains to be seen, but I'm optimistic there. Um, I'm kind of not super enthused after just only seeing one game. What I saw from Montrezl Harrell, he's not going to be featured in the pick and roll offense the way that he was previously with the Clippers. Just
All right,
you know
with Lou
their
Williams, yeah.
neighbors with Lou Williams. It's going to be a lot of kind of scraps. And if Anthony Davis and LeBron both aren't out there, then maybe he'll get a little bit more. But he was holding the ball at the top of the key. Kyle Kuzma kind of cuts across the court, and the action goes to AD. But Kyle Kuzma was like, "Hey, I'm open," and he missed that pass where Montrez is really used to being the recipient of the passes. He's not much of a
You're making the
facilitator.
pass, yeah. I saw
Yeah,
that.
that Marcus Gasol is. So,
I think he got
um,
fouled on that possession, right? He was going to the rim, got fouled, missed it, and
mhm,
then missed the free throws. I was like, yeah, Kuzma's right there open. But you're right. That was a good.
yeah.
Uh,
So it makes me wonder. And then on the opposite side, I really like. I told you I was higher on the Clippers on our last episode than you were at that time. And even if it seemed as though the Lakers were going to come back, no matter what the results of the game were, what I've seen tonight, I think it's really bodes well. I kind of like the addition of Batum. He's another guy that's going to keep the ball flowing and kind of uh, keep from having Kawhi and Paul George do so much work on offense. He's definitely a ball mover, and that's definitely what a lot of times the Clippers seem to have needed. Whereas guys
right.
that had the ball in late possessions, they didn't know what to do besides chuck up a shot. Not much creation, even though it seemed as though Lou Williams can create, and he can in the pick and roll for sure. But just one thing was emblematic of it all for me. They got a steal, passed the ball off to Batum. He's taken the fast break up because he can dribble. He's very versatile. Can do a lot of things well, kind of like a jack of all trades. Stops. He gives the ball to Pat Beverly, who is driving, but the Lakers have good transition defense back. So Pat Beverly, he will take what he's given, but he can't create things that aren't easily or readily available. He's not that tall. He's not that explosive. So he turns the ball back, throws it out to the key for Kawhi. Kawhi's not looking to take an immediate three because the defense is kind of on him. So he passes the ball immediately to Serge Ibaka, who is like 5 feet away on the right. And Serge Ibaka is like, shit, I'm shooting this, and he just shot it, no hesitation. Boom, that's Serge right
Man,
there.
that's Serge.
I used to hate how much he was shooting on the Thunder because he was taking shots away from Kevin Durant. But the way he's honed his percentages in Toronto and come here, he's definitely a release valve that they're going to need. Has some passing touch, and even though he might make some mistakes, he's definitely decisive with the ball, and I think that's really going to pay dividends for them, along with losing Doc Rivers, bringing in Ty Lue, Zubac is going to play a big role. He's going to get a lot more minutes in this playoffs, and I think it's going to pay dividends when they get to play, Twin Towers against their opponents. So I'm
Yeah.
really up on them right now.
Yeah. Definitely I'd like to see more. I want to see, more creation differences than what we saw in last season, kind of like you said. So, newsflash, Clippers just won. Um, Paul George actually had a very good game. 13 of 18 from the field. Man, yeah, that's pretty good. 33 points. So good to see him back on track. But yeah, going forward, I'd like to see, the ball moving a little bit more, kind of like you said. They've added some more shooting versatility. Defense tightened up a little bit more, and you got Batum and then Ibaka as well, who's a little bit better defender. Giving up Trez. Yeah, because we don't. The goal for them, I believe, is going to be being able to create an efficient offense come playoff time, where you don't have to rely on like having Lou Williams out there, who's going to be a minus on defense,
Hmm.
even though whatever he's giving you on offensive side, he's going to give it up on defense. So them creating a system and kind of alleviating the pressure that's going on Kawhi and Paul George, I think is going to be the key to them for to be successful. But we'll see. It's game one. They got the
Oh,
first win. They did that last year, so let's see what's going to happen.
and the Clippers extended my man Luke Kennard, the man who officially
Oh
became my
yeah, yeah.
man
I thought he
just
worked
last
it.
week. What was that?
Man, Steve Ballmer just hooked him up. He used to work at Microsoft. He was like, you know what, man, I'm on through.
Dude, Luke
Give me an
Kennard,
extension.
I said this last week. I'm gonna say it again. Go look at his highlights, man. He looks like Tyler Hero light. He knows how to play off of every sort of opposing NBA player that can be on his team. He knows how to come off of actions. He knows how to come off of screens. He knows how to defer to people, but also knows how to dribble and go up with some confidence, trying to put together his own layup package. So I'm up on that.
Mm.
And in one particular moment, he actually had a jump stop in the lane. And this is something that was very controversial for a long time. Every time it makes the rounds on Instagram or Twitter, when somebody takes a jump stop and they've got their pivot foot. Let's say your pivot foot is your left foot, Andre. You're circling around. Your left foot is not moving. Then Kennard stepped forward with his other foot, lifted his pivot foot away, and jumped forward. So everyone's like, travel, 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 travel. But it's not a travel. He never put his pivot foot back down.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if Dirk Nowitzki was taking a fadeaway, his left foot is his pivot foot. Then he steps back off his right foot. His left foot's now off the ground. He's moved it, but he shoots before he puts the ball down.
All right.
So, but it looks strange. So Carmelo was like, "That's a travel." The last time I saw it on Instagram, but it's not. I checked the rules. Donovan Mitchell has done the same thing. CJ McCollum has done the same thing. So that's something that I was really hyped about, and I'm hyped to see Luke Kennard as long as he can stay healthy now that he's healed up from his knee injury. And then the number one thing to return from the bubble, Andre, I'm the most excited about this one thing. Please say what it is. It's an inanimate object. I hope you know what it is. I haven't told you. I said it
Is it
before.
is it Alex Caruso's
No,
headband?
it's an inanimate object. Oh, no, it's the rail cam, man. It's the rail cam. The
Oh
Lakers have the
shit!
rail cam.
Yeah.
Woo! No fans, rail cam, baby. That's right. I will stay out the building if it means I get to keep the rail cam. Although I really want to
No
go back
more
to see
games.
the NBA game. Yeah, no, I'll also go. I'm not going to be courtside anyway. Just
That's all right, man.
eliminate those courtside seats so we can get more rail cam. Oh,
Yeah.
and yeah, and so you're right. Offensive continuity, turnovers are going to be important. And then I just had one other note about that Clipper game, and you mentioned it to me before we started. Paul George passed into the ref in the corner. He passed it to where nobody was. Luke Kennard was on the wing. Luke calls for the ball. Paul George
Hmm.
is to Luke
Run
Kennard's
past it.
right. And he
Yeah.
passes it straight to Paul George, and Paul George is like, I'm the superstar. I don't go to the corner. I pass to the corner to where the role players are. And that's where Luke Kennard needs to know he needs to be in this circumstance. So,
Hmm.
as those things work themselves out, the Clippers sure did cruise to roughly a 60 win pace last season. I think that they could do something similar this season with the kind of high IQ players that they have and good health. So,
Hmm. I mean, yeah, and they pretty much made that without Paul George and Kawhi being healthy consistently. So I mean, most of that core is still together, so they should be fine for the most part. I think that like everyone wants to know, do they have what it takes to make it out the West? So we'll see.
So, Andre, I know we had a pretty quick rundown of these two games. We got a full slate of action tomorrow. NBA League Pass is on a free trial all the way through this upcoming Sunday. So, I hope everyone that's listening to us, anybody that likes the NBA, can be encouraged to take give themselves a gift and take advantage of the free trial of NBA League Pass. Check out all their out of market games. But we're gonna have a bunch of games that are available to everyone on Christmas Day. I'm gonna read out the games to you, Andre, and you let me know what you're most excited about. So, and I don't want to tease too much, but there should be some shot callers content for everyone regarding the Christmas Day games coming this week. So we'll see you guys before Andre's and I's typical weekly broadcast. So keep an eye out for that. So for Friday, starts with the early game, 11 a.m. Central. Pelicans Heat, followed by the Warriors Bucks, who you might not be as gassed on now that you've seen the Warriors play today. ABC 4 p.m. The Brooklyn Nets take on the Boston Celtics. I'm up on that one. Followed by ESPN again. ABC simulcast 7 p.m. The Dallas Mavericks take on the Los Angeles Lakers, and then the nightcap is going to be the Clippers and the Nuggets, a rematch of the Western Conference Finals from the bubble. What are you thinking, Andre? What's got you
I
rubbing your
mean,
hands?
obviously, I'm a homer for the Mavs, so I'm
Oh
just gonna
yeah.
throw that. I'm gonna throw that one out. I'm gonna throw that one out.
Okay, okay, okay.
But that Denver Clippers series, I want to see that again. I want to see if Jamal Murray can continue to play at the level he was in the bubble, and I want to see how the Clippers come back from that embarrassing defeat.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll try to
Uh,
put a shellacking on him. I wonder if Zubac is going to come up big against Nikola Jokic. I want to
Jokic,
see how
yeah,
Jokic is going to look. Yeah, dude. Last time I was talking about Jamal Murray, I said he was looking like Michael Jordan. Can he keep looking like Michael Jordan during the season? We will find out. Can
I,
Michael Jordan? Can Michael Jordan? Can Michael Porter come back and be an integral cog in his own right, taking his turns but not interrupting the offense too much from the small forward slash power forward position? That team is so interesting. They got a center, they got a point guard, and a small forward that can downsize to power forward at times that are needed. That can all create their own offense in different styles. It's something that is almost unprecedented, and they drafted everybody. No
I know.
trades.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I mean, Denver's fun basketball to watch. I hope people are starting to catch on to them. Zubac didn't get a lot of play in the crunch time against Jokic, so like you
Hmm.
said, I'm interested to see how that works out. It seems to be he was very effective. He's a bigger guy, can body up on Jokic a little bit more, kind of effective shooting around the rim. So I want to see. I'm really excited to watch that. Yeah, Friday. I'm looking forward to that, man. Actually, the Pelicans, Miami, that's a close second as well. Um, Pelicans, there's spacing concerns, but the whole team seems to be optimistic about Lonzo shooting. JJ Redick's been talking about him, saying, "Hey, man, your shot's fine now. It's great. Just shoot the ball more. Just be
Hmm.
confident with that." So, Brandon
Yeah,
Ingram, I want to see how
Lonzo
he's. Yeah,
Lonzo didn't get an extension, so that's something to watch for. And
yeah, he's one of the youngest. Yeah,
these players that didn't get extended, I don't think it's the end of the road for those teams. They're basically just allowing these guys like Lonzo Ball or John Collins on the Hawks to go out and test restricted free agency, saying, "Prove it to me this year before we commit to you prematurely." So definitely something to watch as Lonzo's essentially entering a contract year. John Collins entering a contract year for the Hawks. But you're right about that and about the spacing that you mentioned because Steven Adams and Steven Adams and
Zion,
Zion, of course. But the thing that comes to mind is Russell Westbrook didn't always have optimal spacing in
OKC.
OKC, of course, but he made up for it with his raw athleticism. So if you can beat your first man, it doesn't matter if it's clogging the paint. You're still gonna force a rotation and make positive results for your team. And if Zion can finish at the rim at an efficient rate like he has, in his college career and at certain points during certain games of the NBA, I think that they definitely can be a scary team, and I've already expressed the faith that I have in a Stan Van Gundy offense, doing the little things and defending and getting back in transition, even if they're not traditionally fast teams. We don't yet know what to expect, but I'm up on that. But the team that I want to watch for the most, and I feel that a lot of people are sleeping on, I think the Celtics are going to be really good. I mentioned last year or last week that a lot of development is going to have to come from within. And who's to say that's not going to happen? Jalen Brown and Jason
Marcus
Tatum are
Smart.
not older than 25 years old, I don't think. Like, they're still spring chickens, and they got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. That's not anything to scoff at, especially in a year that was like that, going toe to toe with such a terrific defense such as Toronto. So I think that they're going to be something to watch. I think uh, Jason Tatum's going to rein that shot selection in a little bit more and be even more efficient. So that's the one I'm keeping an eye out for. I'm going to try my best not to eat too much during that game and fall asleep and miss it. So that's what I'm watching for this week.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I wanted to see the Sixers play, but it's fine.
Hey,
It's
they'll be on
fine. I'll
tomorrow. They'll
take.
be on tomorrow.
That's all right. That's true. Yeah, I'll get my fix tomorrow.
All right. So, any closing thoughts you want to wrap us up with, Andre, or do you want to tell the people where they can find us on social media?
Hey man, you want to hit us up on Instagram? You can follow us at _shotcallers. Got a Twitter? Send us a tweet. Send us a DM at Shotcallers Show. And if you want to send us an email address, you can reach us on Gmail at shotcallarshow@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can find us on Apple Podcasts. Just look for Shot Caller Show. The Shot Caller is us. We're up on YouTube as well, video. Just look for Shot Caller Show there as well, and all the other usual podcast
The usual
sources.
suspects. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Andre, for that. And that does it for us. Thank you guys for tuning into another episode, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. For Andre, for Bella, my
Hey,
name
hi
is
Bella.
Rich. Oh, Bella, so cute. I haven't seen her in so long in real life.
She don't care
Uh,
about us.
but yeah, Bella the podcast hound is what we used to call her. But all right, so that's for us for the shot callers. We're signing off. We will see you guys next week.